buffet. Hey, it's Halloween. Let's get spooky. Spooky as it be. Hey, it's Halloween. Let's get spooky. Spooky as it be.
Hello, everyone. Good evening, and welcome to Halloween week here at Yuki and John's podcast buffet. I like to laugh like the Crypt Keeper sometimes. I don't know if the mic's gonna handle it. It's kind of like. We'll see if that comes out really distorted later on. This is Halloween week. This is so exciting. We got a buffet of candy and scary and things of that nature. All right, unfortunately, or fortunately, I'm not quite sure which one. I think it's fortunately because Yuki is having a great time. He's in Japan right now, and we haven't really been able to record new episodes. So I'm going to do something different the next couple of weeks here at the buffet. I'm going to do a couple of interviews with some independent filmmakers who I really respect, and I love their work. And, you know, it's the perfect thing to do around this Halloween season. First up this week, we have Mr. Brian Paulin. Brian Paulin. He makes these super gory, practical effects heavy, interesting, scary movies. And I just fell in love with his work over the last couple of years. And he was nice enough to say, yeah, I would love to be on your buffet. He didn't even know what the hell it was probably, but he was like, yeah, sure, I'll do an interview. And it was great talking to him. So it's the perfect thing for this little Halloween season. But before that, before we get to this interview, of course, it's Yuki and John's podcast buffet, so it wouldn't be right to not include Yuki in this episode somehow. So I'm going to do something special. I went into the archives and I found something that is actually kind of related to Halloween. Back in, I would say, maybe 2021, Justin Martell from The Last Drive-In, the executive producer, approached me, and he had a Phono Co. Ship to Shore Phono Co. He had a record company called Ship to Shore Phono Co. that released a lot of The Last Drive-In vinyl and stuff for the soundtracks. And he said, would I be interested in producing and arranging a new version of the Monster Mash, the original by Bobby Boris Pickett, of course, but have Joe Bob sing it, and then have a bunch of guest musicians, like pretty famous people. It's amazing what they got. They got Count D or Piggy D from Rob Zombie's band. They got Frank Iero from My Chemical Romance. They got Fabio Frizzi, the great maestro Fabio Frizzi, to play keys. So it was amazing. I got to arrange this version. I did a demo version of it. And then the musicians added their flavor. And then Joe Bob came in and recorded his version. He rewrote the lyrics to be more about the trailer park and his sort of brand. But included in that, he added a line for Yuki. And that line was, "Whatever happened to my Tokyo twist?" So, you know, as I'm doing this arranging and stuff, I wanted to get something authentic. I didn't want to just mimic Yuki's voice, because not only would that be ridiculous, it will also probably end up being racist because I'm a white, pasty motherfucker. So I asked him to leave me a voicemail. Yuki, I said, Yuki, please, can you call me up, leave me a voicemail, and do this line over and over again until you feel like you got it, and say, whatever happened to my Tokyo twist? Whatever happened to my Tokyo twist? So luckily, I have kept this. Actually, it was 2 voicemails. What I'm going to do right now is I'm going to play you the first voicemail. Then we're going to cut to Mr. Brian Paulin and have a great interview. And then when we get back, we're going to wrap it all up with the second voicemail from Yuki. And then we're going to play the Monster Mash featuring Joe Bob and the Lone Stars. All right? This is going to be an especially amazing Halloween Yuki and John's podcast buffet. All right, here we go. This is the first voicemail that Yuki left me back in the day, and then we're going to go straight into Mr. Brian Paulin after some spooky music. Stay tuned. Yuki, take it away.
Whatever happened to Whatever happened to my Tokyo twist? 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 Oh, whatever happened to my Tokyo twist?
All right, everybody. So John Brennan here. Yuki's in Japan, as we stated a little bit earlier, and this is so exciting right now. I am here with an independent filmmaker who I really respect, whose work I just got introduced to not too long ago, last year or the year before. Brian, how do you say your last name? Because I didn't ask you up front. Is it Paulin? Paulin? How do you do
Nope.
it?
Paulin, exactly the way it looks. Paul.
Paulin. So Brian Paulin, ladies and gentlemen, this is truly exciting for me. Okay, so how I want to start this out, because I am very bad at research and I'm bad at regurgitating information. I'm better at conversational stuff. So I think I would love for you to state like a mini bio of how you would want people to know about you and like kind of how you present yourself and your work.
Well, I'm basically just a hardcore horror fan. I'm doing this because I love it. Long time ago, I became obsessed with horror movies, and me and my friend Rich George, who is like the one that I started making movies with, we would have gore nights. We'd go out and rent, Lucio Fulci movies we hadn't seen yet and stuff, and we just watched like 4 movies in one night and different stuff like that. I just got to a point where we had to take part somehow, so we started making our own movies. So, and basically what Motivation Films is it's basically just a group of hardcore horror fans making horror movies because it's what we love to do.
And I honestly love watching them. The creature effects that you pull off on what I assume is a low budget, right? I mean, you guys don't. You're not playing with big time Hollywood money. Let's just put it that way.
We're not playing with any money.
And then that's what makes it even more impressive, because some of the creatures that you come up with are better than stuff that you see in $1 million movies.
Thank you. Appreciate that. I won't say no money because we actually have about 4 people who have pitched in a little bit of money, just to be associate producers and stuff. So, but again, there is no real budget to our movies. We all have full-time jobs, and whatever we can afford to pay for, whatever we can do it, that's the budget.
Okay, so I want to go back because you've touched upon a bunch of stuff that I want to talk about. So first is your inspirations, not only in movies, but you're obviously a huge fan of music and books and literature. So movies, literature, and music, things that really got you to where you were as far as your aesthetic. Do you have any that stand out?
Well, one of my major influences now is H.P. Lovecraft.
Oh yeah,
there's no one else like him, and it just seems like no one's ever going to be able to top his imagination. The stuff he came up with is just unreal. So that has a huge influence on me. As far as movies, the one that really made me want to start doing this is The Evil Dead.
Yeah.
I think one of the first things me and Rich ever did once we finally got a hold of a video camera, a little after we got out of high school, is we just went out in the woods and we started just running around and imitating The Evil Dead. And music has always been the most important thing in my life since I can remember. I mean, I remember getting my first Kiss album when I was 6 years old.
Hell yeah.
My cousin had got me into them, and then got me into Black Sabbath and Ozzy, and it just got heavier and heavier from there. So that music is like the main thing in my life.
That's similar to me, as I've always had a love of movies, but music is what's come the most naturally to me as far as creating it and also just ingesting it. It's never been sort of an intellectual thing. It's always been just an easy thing that came into my life. The movies are more, I don't know, just on the surface. Even just to make one movie takes so many different people, and it's more mind-boggling to make music, So when you're making your films, what kind of a crew do you have? Do you have like a dozen people, more or less, or is it just depends on the day?
We prefer having maybe 3 to 4 people as a crew, and that's it.
That's amazing to me, because that's the ideal amount. Sometimes there's people on set doing stuff that are just either they don't know what they're doing because they don't know, they're not in on the plan because they whatever, or they're just actively working against the plan. So I'd rather
I
have
don't like.
3 or 4 hardcore people who are all in
Yeah,
than
yeah.
50 who don't know what the hell's happening.
I hate it. I don't like having like 10 people. If unless it's a big shoot, the only time we've ever really done that is like for stunt work. Because
Okay.
Rich George was on a stunt team in Connecticut for our years. And so when we're doing stunt stuff, we'll make sure we have extra people around for safety and all that.
Yeah.
But those are really the only times, unless it's a really big scene. Like I think the only time that happened during the making of Septic was the shootout, where we had they were taking my character and taking me away, and Dr. Wu was there with these other guys that were coming in for the business deals and stuff, and then I end up taking a gun, and the whole shootout thing happens. There was a That was the most people we had on set that night. So,
So
but I prefer to keep it small.
yeah, smaller the better, and just working towards a common goal. And it just seems that when you have a smaller crew like that, more is at stake. So people step up to the to really do a great job, you
Yeah,
know?
more gets done.
More gets done. Yeah, absolutely. I've seen that happen myself.
One thing that I notice happens when you get a big crew and you get a lot of people around is all of a sudden is like there's literally been times not with my main crew but with other people around that you kind of have to, it's like you're waiting for people to get off their phone. It's like,
Absolutely.
can you please stop watching YouTube videos? We gotta, we need audio for this. Let's go.
Yeah. Or a lot of people taking pictures with the props and the this and that and the other thing. It's like, why aren't you doing your task? Do
I
that
mean,
later.
we keep our set. We want it to be fun. We were as laid back as possible.
Oh yeah.
But when it comes to shooting, it's like, okay, if you have, if we got 10 people around us, it just takes that much longer because you gotta get, all right, everyone quiet, 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 everyone ready.
Absolutely.
We just prefer to have, sometimes it's just Rich George and I. We did that a couple of months ago. We're in my driveway and we were just shooting an effect. We were shooting a gore effect with a body. And it was just him and I. We had the camera on a tripod and he was working on something and I was doing the blood tubing. No, it just a matter of no one else was, it was a weeknight, so no one else was really available that night. But we're like, we can do it ourselves. We can pull
Right.
out just the two of us.
You got
So
it
a
done.
lot of times that happens.
So you also act in your movies, which is probably difficult sometimes. How do you plan out the shots and know what you want? And then also because you're not seeing the shots as you're acting them. How do you do that? Do you do storyboards beforehand? Do you have somebody trusted behind the camera that you just know will get the shot?
Yeah, there's a couple of people I usually like. Joe Olson, who was in Cryptic Plasm and Blood Pigs and stuff. He's if I'm going to be acting whatever, I usually like to try to see if he can make it and be the camera guy because I really trust him with the camera and stuff. Um, it's actually not too hard. I enjoy doing it. It's mostly out of necessity. That's how it started because I know why I show up, and it just once we started going and making it bigger, it's just fun. I mean, when else are you gonna be, being drenched in blood? Or one thing I always remember is from At Dawn They Sleep. I'm like, I got to stand on a car and leap off it 1 second before Rich George smashed another car into it. When do you ever get to do stuff like that?
Only in
So
this fantasy.
yeah, I've been Rich George lit my arm on fire and stuff. So it's stuff you don't do in the ordinary day. So
Yeah.
I like taking part and I like doing it because it gives you an opportunity to do stuff you never would have done normally.
See, the one thing about what you say being covered in blood, I can take it except on the neck. When it gets all like that Caro sticky on my neck, that drives me nuts. It's just, ugh, I don't
Yeah,
know.
I got it wasn't actually for one of my movies. My friend Jess, she was directing a short sequence for something else, and I was like, yeah, I'll do it. She wanted me to be the victim, and I'm like, oh, it's just myself. So I was using all the K-Ro stuff on me and everything. And I went to go up the stairs, and it was all over my stomach, all down my legs and everything. I went to walk up the stairs when we were done. I'm like, oh, all the
Oh,
hair was like ripping. I'm like, I forgot about that. It's been a while.
yep. The hair. I was in a movie called Curse of the Werewolf recently, and I was just covered in blood, and I was sitting down, so I didn't realize how bad it was. Similar to you, when I got up, just the whole lap is just stuck together. It's just a disgusting mess.
It's painful.
It's painful.
One
Um,
thing I started doing during the new movie is I actually started buying the little quarts of blood you can get for Halloween and stuff. But then I customized, I put in extra coloring and everything to make it look more like the blood we usually use. Because it gets to a point I start feeling bad having actors like they try to lift their arm, they're like, oh, they're all stuck and everything. So like, you know what? I'll make it easier for you guys.
Oh, so
Might
so
cost a
that's
little extra more money, but it's worth it. So I'm not torturing the actors as much.
right. I was kind of looking at that stuff at Spirit Halloween and saying, I wonder what's the difference here. Is it because I don't really know too much about mixing and mastering the blood and stuff like that, but I was tempted to get a jug and just throw it around a little bit and see what it was like. But
That's what
I
I
didn't.
was doing. That's what I started doing. I usually just add more red to it because theirs has a tendency to be really bright red.
Uh-huh.
Even though that's more like what real blood looks like at first, but it just on film it doesn't look good. It always looks fake for some reason.
Yeah.
So I add more red and then I'll put green. I'll put some few drops of green in there to darken it up so I get that dark red.
So how did you start to come into the effects part of it? Because that to me is what sets your movies at a higher level than a lot of these other independent horror films lately. That those creature effects are just so amazing, honestly. And the way that you,
Thank you.
how do you do it? Do you pre-sculpt it and then build a bigger version? Do you 3D model it? Like, what's your process of the creature stuff?
Well, the effects, makeup effects is how I started. I started doing learning makeup effects before I started. I didn't even have a camera or anything. So I started when I was like, I think in 10th grade in high school. And the way that happened was I was renting all horror movies, becoming obsessed with it. And I rented the Fangoria Screen Grades Volume 1 on Tom Savini.
Aha.
And I'm thinking, I'm like, oh, it's just behind the scenes of horror movies. Didn't realize it was about, one makeup artist, one guy. And as I watched it, I was like, oh my God, I was just obsessed. I was like, this is fascinating. And it was like just that weekend, it's like, click, I know what I want to do now. And
That's
I was
incredible.
going, grabbing whatever I could, to I cut out a cardboard trying to do that machete thing and everything. And I made the mistake. I didn't know anything about fake blood or anything. So I was just, my mother happened to have some red food coloring. So I'm pouring that all over me, not realizing how bad it stains. And then I couldn't get it off myself. I was like, oh, great. So it started from there. And looking on the back of Fangoria magazine, looking in the little classifieds, I found a place in Boston, which I can't remember what they're called now, but they're long gone. And I found some grease paint. I found a place to order a foam latex from. And basically just I bought a lot of videos. I remember Michael Burnett had an excellent series of videos or just the techniques of special makeup effects or whatever. I learned a lot from that. And then eventually I took the Dick Smith course,
Oh, awesome.
um, which was, just amazing. Got to talk to him a couple of times or whatever. So,
Really?
yeah, because once you're enrolled, he actually accepted me. He said it was going to take me a lot of work because I was like just learning on my own, just doing little things. But as you're doing stuff, as you progress, he calls you. And all of a sudden, I just get a phone call one night, and he's like, "Oh, it's Nick as well." I'm like, "Oh my God!"
Oh, that's
So I was
mind
talking
blowing.
to him on the phone for like an hour, and he's giving me, advice and telling me about different techniques and what I need to do and stuff like that. Um, but then it was also from Scream Greats, seeing all the George Romero movies that were on there that Tom Savini worked on. So I started renting all the Romero films. I was just like so blown away by it, so inspired by Romero and Savini's work together. That's why I think when you said to Rich George, I'm like, we got to get a hold of a camera somehow. But this was the late 80s.
Uh-huh.
And even the VHS camcorders, those things were like $1,000, $1,200. We're
Yeah.
just graduating high school, getting ready, and we didn't have the money for it. But we ended up getting a camera through his father, gave him a loan, and we just started doing it.
That's amazing. So there's a Morbid Visions. That's your company, right? And then
Morbid Vision Films.
Morbid Vision Films. And then there's an anthology which I haven't seen, which is Morbid Tales.
Yes.
That's a anthology of your early shorts.
Yeah, because when I first put up a website, I did a filmography page and I did a small description of each movie right from the beginning, which was 1990. And I did like two photos for every movie that I had listed. And over the years, people kept asking, is there any way to see these short films?
Yeah.
Now, the first three were called Sacrificial Birth, Final Scream, and then The Shifters. Uh, And I was like, well, they're just shot on camcorder. They're edited between VCRs and stuff. They're just amateur movies. They're not worth. I can't sell them because I don't think they were worth it, whatever. But people kept asking all throughout all the years and everything. So I think it was after. Well, it must have been after our cryptic plasm, I believe. And while we were shooting Septic, I came up. Oh wait, no, Septic was after. Sorry, after Cryptic Plasm, I came up with the idea. I'm like, you know what? Maybe if we do this thing where these guys will shoot a whole new wraparound story, shoot a lot of new stuff, so at least they're getting something new out of it. Then I feel comfortable.
Sure.
And like the in joke of the whole movie is that it's these three guys that sold their souls to a demon, and he gave them something to better their lives. And 15 years later, they got to come back, and all they have to do is entertain them with a story. The inside joke is it's the three first films we ever did, which, the joke is they kind of suck. So he is like, you guys they didn't entertain him, and those guys all get killed.
Oh,
So then like the next 10 minutes, 15 minutes of the movie is all brand new stuff with all new gore effects, gore sequences. So we made a finale like people are used to from our movies.
that's fucking genius. That's amazing. That's one I have to check out. I came to your work because I was on Massacre Video and I was like going through the DVDs, and of course, as you will, I was buying Black Devil Doll from Hell, Tales from the Quad Dead Zone, 555, and then I see this one, Fetus, and the cover was so striking with that like melted skull, and it's in like red and blue, and it's just beautiful image that I was
Yeah.
like, I don't even know what the fuck this movie is, but it's called Fetus. It looks like that. I am buying this without knowing anything about it. And I watched it one night and I was blown away. I mean, honestly, I was so blown away. So that led
Thank
me
you.
to seek out all of your other stuff. Unfortunately, the major hole in my repertoire of your work is At Dawn They Sleep. I bought that DVD and I had a fire and it melted. So I'm
Oh no.
sorry. So I was
Sorry.
going to watch that and I just haven't gotten around to it. But Cryptic Plasm blew me away. Bone Sickness. That one really gave me the creeps because you have like not only is it creepy as far as ghouls and things like that, but it's also got the medical angle
Oh
to
yeah.
it. Medical things really screw with my head. So you found a great concept there to really creep me out. I swear to God.
Great to
Um,
hear.
yeah. And then Blood Pigs. I really love what you did with the stilts and stuff like that with the big monsters. So how did that work out? Because that's got to be very complicated to do.
Whenever it comes to the big creature effects, I realized I didn't answer some of your questions about the creature effects earlier, but
Oh, no worries, no worries.
this.
We'll just keep doing it because this is
Well, it fits
conversation.
in with this. So
Great.
whenever all the big creature effects stuff and everything is usually, if it's going to be an actor wearing it, it's usually Rich George,
Okay.
because he's a stunt performer. So he's used to torturing himself. So I know he can handle it. He knows exactly. We work so well together that I trust him. I know he'll bring stuff to life and everything. The funny thing about the blood pigs themselves, those weren't even in the movie when we first started. Blood
Really?
pigs started off as an experiment because we're like, it takes us 3 years or so to finish a movie. We're like, let's do an experiment, see if we can shoot something within like 4 weeks.
Yeah.
And after like a week and a half, like, okay, forget it, we're gonna fail. There's no way this is gonna work. Because originally it was just gonna be a very standard zombie film. But then
Okay.
we're thinking, Fetus was doing really well and it was becoming one of our best sellers. And I'm like, we can't follow Fetus up with some standard, just run of the mill zombie movie. So we filmed a lot of character stuff. All the safe house stuff was in there. And we stopped filming. I said, I'm going to rewrite this because this isn't good enough. We have to do something much better. And that's when it shifted from being a zombie film. It was still post-apocalyptic, but it went from that to all the mutations and stuff.
Yeah.
And then that's when the blood pigs came out of all that.
And you know what? That does set it apart. I mean, start seeing those things walking across the screen. You're like, what the hell? This is like nobody else does this kind of thing at this level of budget, and you guys really go for it. And I love that you really push what what you can do with and I really respect. I mean, how do you scrape together the money if you say that you have full-time jobs, do you just pay for it yourself, or do you try to find financiers and things like that?
No, we basically pay for it ourselves.
Even
Um,
more amazing.
like on Abysmal Purgatory, the new one, there have been some people that have put up a couple $100 and everything. They're being credited as producers.
Couple of hundred?
A couple of hundred each. That's it.
You need some
So
more? I'll give you a couple of hundred to be a producer right now. You kidding me? I'd love to
we'll
be
talk.
associated. Yeah, shit, a couple of hundred. I was thinking like multiple thousands.
No, absolutely. Yeah, it's
Wow.
just maybe by the time we usually tally it up, this one is costing a bit more because we're going as big as possible. We're trying to do some, it's the biggest creature stuff we've ever done.
Yeah.
And that's when I start to notice the price tag and why effects budgets are so high.
Yeah.
It's just simply I end up making an 11-foot tall tentacle creature in this. And when it comes to filling that much space, you realize how big that is. It's like, oh crap. And then like
Where do you
when it
store
comes
it?
to stuff like what's that?
Where would you store it? Like, do you have a space?
I have a 2-car garage.
Okay, great. So you have a
With it
space.
doesn't have a loft, it just goes up into a peak with some so I can get stuff to go up really high.
Yeah.
That's where my 12-foot Halloween skeleton is stored because it's the
Oh,
only place to keep them.
hell yeah.
So yeah, as I was working on the full thing and I was working on the top of the head, I'd have to get up on a ladder and I'm coloring it. When it comes to that stuff, I'll admit when it comes to coloring, I just use spray paint. It doesn't last forever, but depending on how much you move the creature.
Right.
But like to do Pax paint or whatever, which is the acrylic and the Prosade adhesive, whatever, that would cost a fortune and it would take forever.
Yeah.
Or like even airbrushing and stuff. So when it comes to the really big stuff or the base coats, I'll just use spray paint. And then for the fine details, then I'll go with a brush and stuff and I'll do the little stuff. But out of all things, when it came to the blood pigs, the way those were inspired was by a Jim Henson movie.
Dark Crystal.
Dark Crystal.
Yes. Okay. So I was going to ask, and also I saw something similar in one of the, I think it was Fury Road or Furiosa. They
Yep.
have the same thing going. So okay, so it was inspired by those big crab guys.
Yeah, what were they called? Those Striders or something like that?
Yeah. Oh shit. Okay, that's all because I'm a huge Muppet Jim Henson fan.
Oh,
So
yeah.
that's amazing that
And when they
if
finally
he was
put out the special edition and they showed the making of it and they showed how they had those things walking on stilts and stuff, and I think they had a cable too, which we couldn't do that.
right.
But it was something Rich and I have wanted to do for years and years. Like someday we're gonna make a creature like that. And then once Blood Pigs was rewritten, I told him about the idea. He's like, "Here's our chance. We can finally do it." So he got really excited about it. He's like, "Let's go for it." And he had no for Blood Pigs he bought the plastering stilts that you wear for plastering the ceilings and stuff.
Yeah.
He got those at Home Depot. He goes, all right. He was learning how to use them.
Oh.
He did some Halloween stuff where I had a costume that he used to love. It was like a Minotaur costume, and he was wearing it on Halloween, scaring kids and stuff. So he's like, I practice a lot. I think I'm good for it. So we just went for it. Like, okay. But again, that was another moment where I'm like, now we're doing a full body thing that when he stands upright and he put the thing, he was 8 feet tall.
Yeah. Oh, that's was while I was watching that movie, I didn't expect it to go there. And all of a sudden I'm like, holy shit, this is crazy.
So that was one of the times again where it's like, oh my God, this is so much space to fill just to make the back legs. I just had to keep again from all right. So this is funny. I guess I just pieced this together just in my head just now is one thing that really helped inspire and showed me how to do bigger creature effects is again back when the Sci-Fi Channel was worth watching. They had Face Off,
sure.
and I used to watch Face Off all the time. But then I can't remember how long ago, what year this was. They did one season of Jim Henson's Creature Shop.
I recall that. Yeah.
You remember that?
Yeah.
That show was excellent. It was so good and what was cool about it was they were doing full-size creatures in that.
Hell yeah.
And while watching them doing it and showing how they did it, that's how I learned fabrication. I was like, oh, this is really interesting because I still have all my old molds, most of them actually. I still have I have 2 different very detailed zombie molds from Blood Pigs. I still have an old mold from Reap of Evil back in 1994. So what I'll do a lot and the big the big creature head you see in Cryptic Plasm that ends up coming out of the side of the plasm thing
Oh,
and the big
yeah.
mouth opens.
That blew
That
me
was a
away too. Yeah.
what's that?
That blew me away as well.
Thanks. Cool. That was made. I made a dragon head for the Dick Smith course, and I was like, I want to make something. He had a lot of experience in sculpting something very large with a lot of detail in it, like having to sculpt in all those scales and all that.
Sure.
I still had the silicone mold, so I remember I used it. Well, I made the mold for that thing. It survived for a long time, and now, but the mold has completely fallen apart. But I'll have like large sections of it, like this, which has all the wrinkles and has all
Oh,
the
yeah.
scales in it. So there's been times over the summer I did it a couple of times. I'll lay out all those pieces on my floor, mix up a huge thing of foam latex, and then I'll fill every one of them. And then as much as I can fit in my stove, all right, cook those up. Okay, now I have a bowl just full of all these detailed pieces.
Yeah.
So when I'm doing these large creature effects, you'll see one in Abysmal Purgatory that it's only a section of a creature. You see like its underbelly and coming like through we built this whole tree set and everything. A lot of work. But this creature was like 5 to 6 feet long, and then it was very large. Once we had it hanging from the ceiling, I was like, oh my god, this thing's huge. To make all the detail of it, I used all those pieces, and I just, like a puzzle, I just made up this creature's skin tone, the skin of texture and all that. So a lot of what I do now is fabricating. I'll pour stuff into molds, I'll get different textures and everything, and then I just piece it all
And you
together.
start to build it. Is there any sort of creature or something in your mind that is like the ultimate thing that you've been wanting to do for a long time but haven't accomplished yet? Like some sort of a design or a concept that you're like, one day I'll get to this.
That's why, even though we're making these big Lovecraftian creatures and everything right now and stuff, the one I really have always wanted to do, and people over the past couple of years, people keep asking me if I would do it, is I want to do a werewolf.
Oh, do it. I mean, your werewolf, I would love to see you do a werewolf transformation, like a 25-minute werewolf transformation. You don't even
But
have to
here's
do
the
anything else.
problem, though.
Yeah.
This is the problem with it. Is my favorite werewolf movie is The Howling.
Great. That scene where his hand grows, that's like amazing, that part. Yeah.
Actually, no. You talk that might be American Werewolf in
Well,
London.
and he puts the one that he puts his hand in front
Oh,
of.
oh yeah,
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
Gotcha.
that part. Oh,
But the
so
problem is that was Rob Bottin.
right.
Rob Bottin is like one of the ultimate. His stuff is just is like magic. I mean, the guy is just absolutely amazing.
Sure.
So in order to do a werewolf movie, I want to try to at least come close to the wolves in The Howling, and that's going to be so difficult.
But you never know. I mean, like, if there's people out there who want to see that, I mean, so many people are tired of CGI werewolves, and just we need to get like some sort of a modern day perfect werewolf out there. And there has been some decent werewolf movies. Don't get me wrong.
Dog Soldiers.
Dog Soldiers was great. I
love that movie.
What was the one on the train?
Howl.
Howl. That was a
Yeah.
pretty good one. So there's ones that are out there that are good, but if you did a werewolf, it would change the goddamn face of the earth. It would be so awesome.
I would love to do it.
Yeah.
The thing is, I am getting practice on Abysmal Purgatory, because we made one of the main creatures in the movie is Baphomet. We do have Baphomet, and it's full size, full suit, and it's Rich George again playing it, and he's on the stilts. And this time with the stilts, I had a long time ago, we took apart to give him back his stilts. We took the blood pig stuff all off of it and everything. But for this time, we brought him back over. We put him in. I had to fit him and everything, and we made hoofs. We made it look like, so it's huge hoofs. So you don't see like any toes or anything coming out. It just comes straight down into a hoof.
Oh my god!
So we had to make goat legs for him.
That's amazing. So what is the timeline on Abysmal Purgatory? Do you have like a set date that it's going to come out?
My goal is for next October to have it ready for sale.
Amazing.
because we just did a convention. We did Monster Expo in Fairhaven, Massachusetts over the weekend. And a lot of people have asked me about it. I said, my goal is for next October, for the October Monster Expo, we're going to have Dismal Purgatory ready.
Incredible.
So
I'm purchasing the hell out of that. So on the this podcast buffet that we do, me and Yuki and John's podcast buffet, we usually pick a topic and we discuss that at length, and we don't do any research. We just make things up. So one of our listeners had suggested something, and it's apropos for this week. This was a suggestion from Kim at cemetery_woman on Twitter. And her topic was Halloween. This is coming out the week of Halloween, so I just want to know briefly before we get wrapped up here, what does Halloween mean to you? Is it important to you? What is Halloween to you?
I live for Halloween. I love Halloween. I still have my first earliest memories of being a kid. I think my aunt brought me out. My mother probably did too, or whatever. But for some reason, I remember my aunt and just the feeling of being out there, and just it's just the whole imagination of it. There's a and I live in Massachusetts, so we get the full, experience. Like right now, it's actually cold out now. The leaves. I know it's driving home from work. The leaves are falling, and I'm just like, oh, I can feel it. It's just a certain feeling here in New England for it. And
Yeah, New England is like the central area for Halloween, right? It like emanated out from there. I feel like.
it kind of feels like that, especially in Salem. I in 2018 and 19, I took a break from doing my yard haunts, and I went and hung out with friends in Salem on Halloween night, and that was that was incredible because it felt like the world's biggest Halloween party right there. You're right in the middle of it all.
I
So
like that
yeah, I just
you said the imagination. That's actually a really huge part of why I love Halloween as well. Other holidays have the imagination, but they don't go all the way with it. This is a
yeah,
time where you can literally imagine yourself as anything else other than what you really are.
yep.
Genius. That's such a great way to put it. Plus the candy.
I just love, the deck, the feeling of it, the atmosphere. Just like the first thing I do, and people wonder, oh, is your yard all gore and everything? I'm like, no, there's actually literally no gore in my displays. I go all old traditional Halloween. I
Yeah,
try to make creepy looking ghosts hanging in the trees, jack-o'-lanterns. I just love the look of jack-o'-lanterns.
same. Yeah.
The first thing I put out is I put these two identical jack-o'-lanterns in my bay window, and that's the first thing that you see from my house on Halloween. Like I put them up early, actually, since time I did in September, because it seems like everyone was doing it in September this year. But I don't know, there's just something about it. I love the feeling of it. I
Yeah.
remember there was a night, it was a weeknight, and sometimes I'll have people come over, whatever, but a lot of people, they're doing their own thing. And there was just no one else around. So once my yard hunt was done, around 9 o'clock, it ended. I let it keep going for cars going by. But then once I had everything, because I have my effects stuff out, I don't leave that out. I take it out, put it right away, it goes back in the garage. But then I'm like, it's Halloween. I'm like, I couldn't sit inside watching. I couldn't even just sit there and watch a horror movie because I'm like, it's Halloween. I need to be participating somehow.
Yeah.
But there was nothing going on, but it was a really nice night. I made a campfire in my backyard, and I was just staring into the fire, and I'm like, I have to sit here until midnight. So when it switches over, and I swear that, they'll have that. I love hearing when they say, "Oh, there's things out in the night and ghosts and goblins and stuff." I'm sitting there, and I just had it was a different feeling. Just sitting there
That's
staring into that fire, it felt like there was things. I don't know. It was weird. That's where the atmosphere of Hollywood. I love the feeling of it.
yeah, they say it's the time when the wall between the living and the dead is the
Yep.
thinnest and things can cross through.
I was
So
inviting stuff like, come on, show me.
show me your abysmal purgatory. Come on. Well, that was an amazing Halloween episode, and I wish we had more time to talk to you, but usually our episodes are very short. So, but I want to just obviously thank you, and I also want you to tell people where they can find your work because I honestly implore everyone to check out this man's filmography.
Well, thank you for that. Right now, we sell on eBay mostly. So on eBay, we're Morbid Vision Films, and we have 4 DVDs on there. We have Morbid Tales, Cryptic Plasm, Fetus, and Septic. And those are all pro-produced DVDs with special features. We load them up as much as we can. We have other movies available that we sell on the conventions, but they're on DVD-Rs. And for some reason, every time we try to list a DVD-R on eBay, they're like, it's a bootleg, and they take it off. We're like, it's our movie.
Right.
So unfortunately, we can't sell our DVD-Rs there. But there's something you're really looking for if you heard about it and it's not one of those four. Just email us or whatever.
Morbid Vision Films?
Morbid Vision Films at yahoo.com.
At yahoo.com. And this is Brian Paulin. And I'm John Brennan. And we just want to wish everybody a happy Halloween. Right?
Happy Halloween.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. Get that werewolf movie going. I will be there day one. Oh, yeah, baby. Halloween is in full effect. It is a Monday in the year 2024. In case you're listening to this in the future. And Halloween is on Thursday. So this is just, I mean, it's already been the spookiest season of all time for me. I mean, I watched so many great movies. You guys ever see Black Sunday with Bruce Dern? That's right. The one with Bruce Dern. Not the one with Barbara Steele and directed by Mario Bava. That would be too easy. That's too straightforward. I'm weird. I don't like to be so on the nose for Halloween. I like to watch political thrillers during Halloween. Black Sunday. It's not even a horror movie. I watched this movie the other day, and man, it's what an incredible, directed by John Frankenheimer, starring Bruce Dern and Robert Shaw from Jaws, and it's this political thriller that's the novel was written by Thomas Harris, the guy who wrote The Silence of the Lambs and all the Hannibal Lecter stuff. And I got to tell you, this movie, not only does Bruce go full Dern, it's got like two of the like craziest surprise explosions I've ever seen in movies. Like, just these two moments out of nowhere, and they're pretty far apart in the movie. They're just like, so all of a sudden this explosion happens. You're like, what the fuck? And I know I'm supposed to be watching super spooky movies, but I gotta be honest, this movie is kind of scary because it's about terrorism, and this was filmed in the 70s, and just the plot that they do to what they're going to do for their terrorist attack on America is completely frightening. I highly recommend this movie. It's probably more of a November movie for most folks. I don't know why I even watched it in October. It's probably because my girlfriend, our producer, and the beloved Liz Shack loves Bruce Dern. And this was a Bruce Dern movie that we haven't seen, and I'll tell you, there's one monologue in there. Oh, man, it's an all-timer. So anybody who hasn't seen Black Sunday, it's a little long. It's like 2 hours and 30 minutes, but it's totally worth it. It's underrated action flick if you haven't seen it. Blew my mind. 2 amazing explosions plus more. You'll love it. So that was a great interview with Mr. Brian Paulin. I really appreciate him coming on. And you guys, check out morbidvisionfilms.com. We'll put all the stuff in the show notes below and the links and all that stuff. And I really appreciate it, and I can't wait to see his new stuff. And hopefully I'm able to donate a couple of $100 to his new movie and get an associate producer credit. Because, I mean, I just want to help this guy make movies because he deserves it. And honestly, the effects, you got to see these movies not just for the effects, but the effects are amazing. As promised in the beginning of the show, I'm going to play the second voicemail from Yuki's Tokyo Twist saga. And then what I'm going to do, because this is a jam-packed Halloween extravaganza, I'm going to do something special here. I'm going to play the Monster Mash demo that I put together, followed by the Monster Mash by Joe Bob and the Lone Stars, followed by a second song that we did with Joe Bob and the Lone Stars called Zombie Jamboree, which is a remake of an old Harry Belafonte song. And I think even before that, it was a song that Harold Belafonte adapted. It was an older song called Jumbie Jamboree or something like that. And yeah, we did this back in 2021. Ship to Shore, Phonoco put it out. And now we're just going to share it with you for this Halloween extravaganza. So stay tuned here for the Monster Mash demo, followed by the actual Monster Mash by Joe Bob and the Lone Stars. And then the Zombie Jamboree demo, followed by Zombie Jamboree by Joe Bob and the Lone Stars. All that's left to say is thank you. Thank you for listening. Thank you for subscribing to Yuki and John's Patreon buffet. All of our beautiful patrons who have supported us. Everybody who comes and say hi. Really nice to us. There's an overwhelming love in the air. And we truly appreciate it. And Yuki will be back very soon. We're going to have a jam session where we record like 6 episodes in one day. We'll eat lunch, shoot the shit, bullshit. It'll be a lot of fun. And but next week we're going to do another interview. And I'll give you a hint. I won't say the name. But the hint is it's going to be very spooky. And Yuki claims he's not a spooky. But he's definitely a spooky. I don't believe this guy because, well, you listen to this voicemail and tell me if Yuki's a spooky. Yuki, take it away.
Whatever happened to my Tokyo twist? 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 Whatever happened to my Tokyo twist?
I was working in the lab late one night when my eyes beheld an eerie sight. For my monster from his slab began to rise, and suddenly, to my surprise,
He did the mash,
he did the monster mash.
the monster mash.
It was a graveyard
He
smash.
did the mash,
It caught on in a flash.
the monster mash.
He did the monster mash from my laboratory in the castle east to the master bedroom where the vampires feast. The ghouls all came from their humble abodes to get their joke from my electrode.
They did the mash,
They did the monster mash.
the monster mash.
It was a graveyard
He
smash.
did the mash,
It caught on in a flash.
the monster mash.
They did the monster mash. Zombies were having fun. The party had just begun. The guests included Wolfman, Dracula, and his son. The scene was rocking, all were digging the sounds. Igor on chains, backed by baying hounds. The coffin bangers were about to arrive with their group, the Cryptic Five.
Play the mash,
They played the monster mash.
the monster mash.
It was a graveyard smash.
Play the mash,
It caught on in a flash.
the monster mash.
They played the monster mash. Out from his coffin, Drax's voice did ring. Seems he was troubled by just one thing. He opened the lid and he shook his fist and said,
Whatever happened to my Transylvania twist?
Now the mash,
"It's the monster mash.
the monster mash.
It's a graveyard smash.
Now the mash,
It caught on in a
the
flash.
monster mash.
It's now the monster mash. Everything's cool. Drax is part of the band, and my monster mash is the hit of the land. For you, the living, the mash is meant to get to my door and tell them Joe Bob sent you.
Then you can mash,
It's the monster mash,
the monster mash.
and it's a graveyard
You
smash.
can mash,
It caught on in the flash.
the monster mash.
It's the monster mash. Igor, put the butcher knife down!
I was working in the trailer late one night when my eyes beheld an eerie sight, for my dragon from his tank began to rise, and suddenly, to my surprise,
He did the mash,
he did the monster
the
mash.
monster mash.
It was a graveyard
He
smash.
did the mash,
It caught on in a flash.
the monster mash.
He did the monster mash. From my body shop in the truck stop east to the cheap motel where the vampires feast, the mutants all came from their humble abodes to catch a jolt from my
They
electrode.
did the mash,
They did the monster
the
mash.
monster mash.
It was a graveyard
He
smash.
did the mash,
It caught They did the Monster Mash. Zombies were having fun. The party had just begun. The guests included Tall Man, Angela, and their son. The scene was rocking, all were digging the sounds.
Darcy on chains backed by a baying hound.
Brennan and the Big Feet were set to arrive with their group, the Crypt Kicker Five. They played the Monster Mash. It was a graveyard smash. It caught on in a flash. They played the Monster Mash. Out from his coffin, Yuki's voice did ring. Seems he was troubled by just one thing. He opened the lid and shook his fist and said,
Whatever happened to my Tokyo twist?
"It's the Monster Mash. It's a graveyard smash. It caught on in a flash. It's now the Monster Mash. Everything's cool, Yuki's part of the band, and my Monster Mash is the hit of the land. For you, the mutants, we call it mash food. Get to my door and tell them Joe Bob sent you. It's the Monster Mash, and it's a graveyard smash. It caught on in a flash. It's the Monster Mash."
It was a zombie jamboree, took place in a New York cemetery. It was a zombie jamboree, took place in a New York cemetery. Zombies from all parts of the island, some of them were great Calypsonians. Although the season was carnival, we get together in Bacchanal, and we're singing back to back, belly to belly. I don't give a damn cause I'm dead already, come on. Back to back, belly to belly at the zombie jamboree, yeah. Back to back, belly to belly. I don't give a damn cause I'm dead already, come on. Back to back, belly to belly at the zombie jamboree, yeah. One female zombie wouldn't behave. See how she's jumping out of the grave? In one hand she got a quart of rum, in the other she's knocking a Congo drum. Believe the singer starts to make a rhyme. Zombies are rocking their bones in time. One bystander had this to say: was a pleasure to see those zombies break away. Back to back, belly to belly. I don't give a damn cause I'm dead already, come on. Back to back, belly to belly at the zombie jamboree, yeah. Back to back, belly to belly. I don't give a damn cause I'm dead already, come on. Back to back, belly to belly at the zombie jamboree, yeah. I'm gonna go talk to Bridget Bardot and tell Bridget Bardot you gotta take it slow. All the men think they're Casanova when they see she's barefoot all over. Even old men in Topeka find their hearts are getting weaker. A lot of world leaders talk about war, and I'm afraid they're going too far. So it's up to you and me to put an end to catastrophe. We must appeal to their goodness of heart and ask them to please do their part. Cause if atomic war begins, there won't be any more local drive-ins. Singing back to back, belly to belly. I don't give a damn cause I'm dead already, come on. Back to back, belly to belly at the zombie jamboree, yeah. Back to back, belly to belly. I don't give a damn cause I'm dead already, come on. Back to back, belly to belly at the zombie jamboree, yeah.
zombie jamboree took place in a Texas cemetery. It was a zombie jamboree took place in a Texas cemetery. Zombies all around the Lone Star State, their blood didn't seem to coagulate. Although they'd lost their brains and they moved real slow, they still remembered the Alamo. Back to back, belly to belly, I don't give a damn 'cause I'm dead already. Come on, back to back, belly to belly at the zombie jamboree, yeah. Back to back, belly to belly, I don't give a damn 'cause I'm dead already. Come on, back to back, belly to belly at the zombie jamboree. One female zombie wouldn't behave. See how she's jumping out of that grave? In one hand she got a Bacardi rum, the other hand's hitchhiking with her thumb. The lead singer starts to rhyme. Zombies are rocking their bones in time. One old cowboy had this to say: pleasure to see zombies break away. Back to back, belly to belly, I don't give a damn 'cause I'm dead already. Come on, back to back, belly to belly at the zombie jamboree, yeah. Back to back, belly to belly, I don't give a damn 'cause I'm dead already. Come on, back to back, belly to belly at the zombie jamboree. I'm gonna go talk to Turasatana and tell Turasatana you gotta shut off the sauna. All the men smoking marijuana when they see that cycle boot red hot mama. Even old men in Topeka find their hearts are getting weaker. A lot of world leaders talking about war, and I'm afraid there's gonna be real world gore. So it's up to you and me to put an end to catastrophe. We must appeal to their goodness of heart. Ask them to please do their part. 'Cause if atomic war begin, it'll really be the last drive-in. Back to back, belly to belly, I don't give a damn 'cause I'm dead already. Come on, back to back, belly to belly at the zombie jamboree, yeah. Back to back, belly to belly, I don't give a damn 'cause I'm dead already. Come on, back to back, belly to belly at the zombie jamboree. So, why were we talking about war in the bridge first? Because is that a Jamaica thing? Because, you know, they're not going to blow up Jamaica. They're going to blow up Texas.
Yuki and John's Patriot of the Bay.